There is a new heavyweight champion of the world, and his name is Oleksandr Usyk. The 34-year-old Ukrainian defeated Anthony Joshua via unanimous decision on Saturday to take home the WBO, WBA, and IBF titles. He in turn becomes the Ukraine's first heavyweight champion since the Klitschko brothers. Usyk stated his claim to the belts throughout the entire fight. Joshua did have his moments in the middle rounds, but Usyk closed the show with a dominant 12th to hand Joshua just the second loss of his professional boxing career. For immediate reaction to this Battle of the Bigs, we welcome in CBS Sports combat analyst and host of the Morning Combat, Brian Campbell. BC, Oleksandr Usyk adds a title and a tally to his still unblemished record, the new heavyweight champion of the world. He betters AJ in the UK nonetheless in a truly dominant show. You walk away from this fight, what's your prevailing thought?
This is a special pound-for-pound ranked masterful fighter. And the former cruiserweight champion, the former undisputed cruiserweight champion, who we had questions, could the 6'3" Usyk move up to heavyweight and have that same success against not just the elite, Joe, but the super heavyweight elite? And that's what the level you're on when you're going to face a 6'6" Anthony Joshua or 6'9" Tyson Fury or 6'7" Deontay Wilder. But what Usyk did on Saturday in Joshua's backyard was stand right in front of the bigger puncher, disarm him with feints and activity, and yet land the bigger, more telling shots throughout. He did that with his speed. He did that with his accuracy. He also did that with his guile. He is a daring fighter who steps up in big moments and rises to the occasion. If you had watched Usyk's win over Derek Chisora last fall, you wouldn't have been able to make the same guess that he could do this to somebody like Joshua. But in the battle of 2012 Olympic gold medalists, it was the heavyweight gold medalist that bested the super heavyweight one and turned the entire glamour division upside down.
Yeah, you talk about the glamour division. We'll get to some of those implications here moving forward. But Joshua, on his side of things, he suffers his second career loss to go along with that 2019 misstep against Andy Ruiz. So that's 2 losses in his last 4 walks to the ring, BC. As always, there's big business behind what lies ahead. Joshua did have a rematch clause in this fight contract. So we, in turn, get even further from the possibility of a heavyweight unification bout. We'll get to the Wilder-Fury implications here in a moment. But for AJ and Eddie Hearn, what's their next move?
You know, their next move is going to be to push for this contractually obligated rematch that only Joshua had. Why? Well, look, he's the bigger star. I mean, you talk about global superstars. It's him and Canelo. They didn't pack 68,000 into this soccer stadium for Usyk. They did it for Joshua. And while AJ didn't talk to the media afterwards as he was getting medical attention for a bruised and swollen eye, it's clear in hearing his promoter Eddie Hearn talk afterwards that they're going to get back to the gym, get back to the game plan, and do this again. One thing about AJ, look, he's vulnerable. He's always been vulnerable. He's a fighter who came to boxing a bit late. You see his size, his shape. He could just as well be a linebacker in the NFL, yet he's a guy who's put all his tools together. He may not be the most pure boxer, but he's a great athlete, a big puncher, and he did go back after that Ruiz upset in 2019 and figure out what was wrong. Yes, we all want an undisputed champion, and yes, we were close to getting AJ Fury this summer, but Usyk, this is an interesting swerve to this, and for AJ and company, they're going to have to show some real resolve and get back into that gym and not just figure out how to come back from a knockout loss like he did against Ruiz, but in this one where he was more or less masterfully outpointed in a boxing sense, which if you're going to give any criticism to Joshua's performance on Saturday, it might have been that he didn't go for the knockout and let his hands go. He tried to box against a better boxer, and he got had.
The proverbial wrench thrown into our plans here over this summer is the new heavyweight champion of the world. We'd have to assume that a Joshua win in a hypothetical rematch would imply a trilogy. So just when we thought we might get the long-awaited Joshua Fury, Joshua Wilder, think again, BC. We're only a couple weeks away. I'm going to let you go here, but we're only a couple weeks away from Wilder Fury 3. What sort of implications did Saturday's result have on the October 9th bout?
It raises the stakes, certainly, in where we're at right now, because it's a weird sort of final 4 of heavyweights. But look, this is heavyweight boxing, meaning anything can happen at any time. One punch can change the momentum. Usyk can come out of nowhere and pull an upset. Yes, we're probably going to get Joshua Usyk 2. That doesn't take away, though, from the stakes for Wilder Fury 3 in just 2 weeks. Deontay Wilder has had so much time through the pandemic to rebuild himself. He's coming for blood, promising a knockout against Fury. even though we may see a rematch, you mentioned, hey, could there be a third fight with Usyk and Joshua? I still think next calendar year, 2022, we are on pace for the winners of these two sort of untraditional semifinal fights to face off and crown for the first time in this four-belt era over the last 30 years. One champion, one face, one division, one man. And at heavyweight, that's the division that brings in the casual fans. This doesn't kill that. It may be a little bit of a hurdle getting Usyk on top, but this is fun. People want to see rematches. They want to see fights with people they know and like. There are 4 fun heavyweights atop the fold right now, so I can't wait 2 weeks from now to see what happens in that trilogy.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch that one go down. Long story short, it's a long road back for AJ if he wants to unify those belts that no longer belong to him. Are you of the opinion that that's a road Joshua is interested in traveling down? Now, we know he's a great champion, but he's handsomely compensated, a superstar with a reach far beyond the ring, BC. And yes, he did stand in here on Saturday and battle, but his ring presence sort of seems like a far cry from what it once was. Do you believe that a heavyweight champion still lives inside Anthony Joshua?
I do. I mean, look, to carry the load on his shoulders of being a 2012 Olympic gold medalist and so much being touted as the next big thing. And then he lived up to that. Nobody fights in front of 80, 90,000 people in boxing in soccer stadiums, comes out with his initials behind him on fire with fireworks going off. This guy, he's big time. He's been able to prove this in the past. Yes, again, he's got some holes. He's not a perfect heavyweight. When have we seen a perfect heavyweight, right? Even the great Muhammad Ali was maybe more known for coming back from defeats and avenging losses in such dramatic ways. AJ's got that same chance in his own era. Heavyweights age late. He's still only 31. He's arguably the biggest puncher and finisher, maybe besides Deontay Wilder in this division. He can box a pretty good bit. Again, he lost playing chess against the chess master. Can AJ come back in a rematch, stick to being more of a power puncher and win it? Yes, he can. He also can springboard from that to face the winner of Wilder Fury 3 next year if all things play out like we think they might. AJ didn't get this far being soft or being a fake. He's vulnerable. And by the way, when you have big-time heavyweights who can talk, they look good, and they're vulnerable, you have a prominent heavyweight era. That's what we finally have right now. Klitschko brothers ain't coming through that door, Coach Patino. We got real fun guys that want to fight each other. Let's do this, Musso.
It is a golden age, and the beauty of it all, there's only one way to answer the question, BC. You ring the bell. He's our guy, Brian Campbell, always answering the bell here on CBS Sports HQ. And don't forget, there's more BC to be had. He and Luke Thomas break down all things swing each and every week, multiple times a week on Morning Combat. Download and subscribe, the premier podcast in combat sports. It's the Morning Combat.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.